Mr Speaker. I listened carefully to that response from the Attorney-General because this week's report from the Crown Prosecution Service Inspectorate into the governance arrangements of the SFO found that that blockbuster funding model does not represent value for money. And it also found that it's incompatible, obviously, with long-term strategy, building prosecutorial capability and capacity in-house for those future investigations and prosecutions. So will the Attorney look at alternative funding models to ensure that the SFO is on a sustainable footing and effectively not subject to a Treasury veto?
Mr Speaker, the Honourable Lady will recognise that this particular report from the Chief Inspector, which I asked him to produce in order to look at the way in which the Serious Fraud Office is governed, was a very balanced report. It put forward some very positive points too about the way in which the Serious Fraud Office has improved under the direction of the current director. But of course, she's right, questions were asked about the funding model, and there is a balance to be struck here, as I've indicated to her honourable friend. We have to make sure that the Serious Fraud Office has the money it needs, and we will, and of course the director will never refuse to proceed in a case for lack of funding. So there is no Treasury veto, as she suggests. But we have to balance the need for that money with the need not to have capacity which is not being used and being paid for by the taxpayer. So the blockbuster funding model has so far been considered to strike that balance correctly. But of course I'll look carefully at what the Chief Inspector says, and we will consider whether further change is appropriate.
Blackman.
Mr Speaker.